The 15th Amendment is monumentally impactful because it eliminates race as a consideration to voting. So basically, what this means is that as of 1870 and the ratification of the 15th Amendment, race can no longer be used as a way to deny people the right to vote. So, translated, this gives African American males the right to vote. Women won't gain the right to vote, white or African American, until 1920. But this gives voting rights to African American males. So, again, this was important because this would allow African American males to begin to influence their political destinies, right? And impact laws that were impacting them, especially in a negative way. However, much like the other amendments we talked about, there's an initial muting impact to the significance of this amendment. Many southern states and counties found ways around the 15th Amendment and its intention to give voting rights to African American men. In many southern counties, voting vouchers were required. This simply means that in order to vote, you would have to get somebody to vouch for you that was an already registered voter. So in many counties across the South where there were only white registered voters, this would prove to be very difficult for an African American that wants to register to vote to have to get a registered voter to vouch for them, right? In many cases, this wouldn't be possible for an African American voter in a county where all eligible existing voters were white. Or in some states, poll taxes were required and literacy tests were required. A poll tax is you would have to pay to vote, and a literacy test is you would have to demonstrate your ability to read or pass like a really complicated test in order to vote. These were not applied to just African Americans; they could impact white individuals as well. A poor white individual might not be able to pay the poll tax, or a poor white individual might not have a lot of education that would allow them to pass the literacy test in order to vote. However, that's where the grandfather clause kicks in. The grandfather clause basically would make that these voting barriers would not apply to anybody whose grandfather could vote prior to 1865. So for a poor white individual might not be able to afford the poll tax. If they could prove that their grandfather had voted, then the poll tax wouldn't apply to them. Clearly, this was intending then to disenfranchise African American voters only, not all voters. So again, the 15th Amendment is important, but there are things, again, that the Southern governments put into place that initially mutes the impact of this amendment.